Alright, hello. My name is Richie, and I was asked to do a breakdown of the deck that I decided to play yesterday for the Enchanted Maui tournament, hosted at Game Corps. So I'll just start off by saying I started playing Purple Steel last set, was on a couple different variations. Towards the end, I ended up switching from like the Rabbit Zeus build to the Dock build. I saw a list come in second at one of it was like an 8K or a 5K towards the end of last set, and tried it out, and it tested really well. Yeah, I kind of just stuck with it. So that was the list from Melissa from TFM. So just a shout out to her. And so yeah, I'll get into more of the tournament. So I think this shell has translated pretty well overall to this set. I will say the percentages definitely took a hit with Bell and more steel. So a couple things needed to change. I think the biggest thing that stands out about the list, I'll just kind of dive to the bottom, is the rabbits with the docks. You really don't see that much, if not ever. I kind of was testing blue steel towards the beginning of this set and had the Hiram dock thing going, and it didn't really conflict as much as it seemed. And so I figured I'd give this a try and noticed that it kind of hard clears Ruby Sapphire, which is I expected to be played more at this tournament, but it wasn't. But overall, you just have to be able to beat that deck to feel good about the deck you're playing. So I initially started with 2 Gontu, 2 Rabbit, and the Rabbit was honestly just overperforming against everything. Like, even against the Blue Steel, it was just overperforming. So I think going 3-1, you take a little bit of a hit versus Amber Steel, but overall you get a more consistent build. Just for my testing at least. So yeah, besides that, the deck's pretty straightforward, very low to the ground, 12 1-drops, Broom Diablo, Chernabogs. Yeah, not too much to say about those guys. Obviously, you want to hit that Diablo into the Bell games, but besides that, the libraries kind of slide right in with the low to the ground theme. Calhoun definitely not as good as it was last set, so I do still think it's necessary to have in there for like a mirror match or other aggro matchups or stuff like that, and it's still a pretty strong 2-drop overall. So I think it still has its moments, it still finds value here and there, and obviously combos well with Diablo. It kind of baits them into like, oh, I'll just take that Diablo out with like a Tipo or something, and then you get your Calhoun value. So yeah, so 4 Dock, obviously the core engine of the deck, 2 Snake, or 4 Snake, 4 Smee. The 3 Benja, towards the beginning of the set, I didn't think this would be powerful enough to really put a dent in the item games, just because they have so many items, they get them back. It wasn't really disruptive. If you're on the draw, this card just misses its timing on disrupting Hiram. So I wasn't really in on this card at first, but after just kind of trying it out, and where the rose slot would be, I see a lot of people running like 4 rows. I tried testing this out. It obviously has okay stats, 2-3, quest for 2, so still good overall in matchups that aren't items. Yeah, I tested pretty heavily against Sapphire Steel items, and this card was single-handedly just winning me games. Like with the 8 bounce cards, 3 copies, just hitting their powerful items like Dime, Workshop, Fishbone Quill, like still on the draw, hitting the Popsicle Fortisphere, stuff like that. Yeah, definitely the MVP. I will say in the Sapphire Steel games that I had, I wasn't seeing it as much as I'd like. Top 4 I saw it, which is obviously important. So a little unlucky there, but the games that I was getting like 1 to 2 off or more, just the odds of winning drastically go up in those games. So yeah, this card definitely overperformed, and I'm even considering going to a fourth. Yeah, four snake. The four snake kind of gives me more of a reason for the rabbit. Like, without enough juice, I didn't always feel great about discarding, even with Doc. But when you have the library, rabbit, and Doc, you're almost always discarding this and inking it less than you normally would. So 4 Fox, 4 Crab, 4 Pete, all staples, repeating obviously how you beat or put the steel matchups in a tough spot. Spamming Pete. Not a new strategy, so this slot gone to, that's the one like question mark that I had. Obviously does really well against Sapphire Steel items, Steel Song. I wanted to do 2 and 2. I might even cut this all together. Like, I felt like in the Ruby Sapphire matchups, it was almost like a trap play. Like, I was just committing to shut down like their B prep or like other things, and then just playing into a Sisu, and red gets rid of it really easily. So kind of powerful against anything steel, but anything else was definitely underwhelming. With that said, I kind of viewed having one as fine. I kind of just viewed it as like almost having like a fifth Pete. So if you didn't see your Petes, you still had something to shut that down with. The Steel Song match up. I know it's not. Being as heavily played as it was a couple sets ago, but definitely the worst matchup for this deck. So I felt like it was important to have this in so I don't get caught off guard. 4 Goat, 3 Rabbit. Talked about the Rabbit. The Strength of a Raging Fire. Obviously, you rely heavily on that for removal. I feel like last set when Pete was more prevalent, this was a really smart card choice because like Mirror Match and games where Pete would kind of like shut you down when you had a bunch of other songs, Pete just becomes less powerful when you run those 4 strengths. So I have always kind of loved that card choice, even though Pete isn't as much. It's still played and everything, but it's not as prevalent as it was last set. And then the 2 library, just more draw power, more lore, more ways to overwhelm the board. Definitely had a lot of moments where, yeah, this just overwhelms the board. Like when you can manage the board and keep their bodies off the board and kind of get ahead, which is easy for this deck to do. Library becomes a pretty big threat, and can just single-handedly take over games. So, of course, once again, in the Ruby Sapphire matchup, great card to have. So, yeah, I think that about sums it up. I won't get too much more into gameplay. I'll leave that up to Glenn, but yeah, feel free to drop some comments and ask questions about the deck and let me know what you think. Thanks.